What's up, y'all? It's your boy Slack Likely, aka Slack, and I just wanted to showcase this deck that I've been messing around with for the past couple of days since the new Mega Race set came out. It's the WURMPLE deck with Beautyfly and Dustox. And honestly, I think this deck is actually not that bad. I think what people have been doing when they build this deck is they've been building it very poorly. And this deck is extremely consistent because of the cocoons. The Cascoon and the Silcoon both have the same effect that put all of the cocoons onto the bench for free. So you basically cheat the game by, you can see I sped up. I've been speeding up the games. I've sped up a lot. It already won the first game. I mean, it was a mirror match, so what does that really count? But spoiler alert, over the course of 10 games, I won most of them. And honestly, you're gonna see in a couple of these games that the only ones that I lose are like extremely egregious bad luck, which is normal for Pocket, right? You know, whatever, it happens. But here we're going against Rotom, and I don't think Rotom is that real of a deck either. I mean, I've tried building my own Rotom list, but yeah, I don't know. Something about this deck feels awesome. It's so consistent. If you brick with this deck, especially the way that I built it, I think they just didn't want you to win that day. Like, you just had a bad day. But and something that you'll notice also is that I use one of each Beautifly. Some people have been using both of the new Beautifly, which I don't think is correct because this Beautifly can swing anywhere for 50. It can poke anything for 50, which is insane, because you're going to be able to apply pressure before your opponent even realizes what's happening. And yeah, the other one can swing for 120 if you have the whole bench set up, but once it dies, it's not that much value anymore. What you really want to do is poke your opponent's threats, and then when they bring in the threat, then you start bullying it with Dustox. And Dustox is awesome, by the way. Dustox can either poison, burn, or confuse from the bench on an ability, right? I mean, that Pokemon is crazy. As you can see right here, the confuse is like, it's kind of like Sleep Scam is right now, is that it always puts your opponent on, you have to try to use a coin flip to get out of this. And that just makes it too easy, you know? Also, one thing that's really good about this deck is that both of the butterflies, well, the butterfly, I guess Dustox is a moth, they both retreat for 1, which means it doesn't matter really which one you lead. That's another thing that makes this deck so consistent. It doesn't matter which one you lead, because you can always retreat into the one that you want to go into by the time you get to a stage 2. Because you're just energy right here, like, it doesn't matter. And this deck is a lot like Venusaur too, in that, like, your opponent is on a timer. They're on a timer to get you to die, pretty much. They get put on a timer. But this deck is 1 turn faster than Venusaur, because the turn that you would attack with Ivysaur, you're instead attacking with the Cocoon, and the Cocoon resolving is what wins you the game more than often than not, you know? Look at this right here, by the way. I'm tossing my whole hand. Making Trail is insane in this deck, because you're gonna empty out your hand so often just to get rid of the cocoons, put 3 cocoons on the bench, draw 3. You're drawing so many cards with this deck that, and you're dumping every single evolution the frame that you get it. You see my opponent loaded up a Mega Metagross. One thing that this deck does suffer from is that there's a lot of status hate going on right now because everyone's so sick of Sleep Scam. There's a lot of people who are playing cards that are anti-effect. Like Ogerpon is seeing a lot of play. I'm assuming that, yeah, this steel deck has Apron in it. Right now my opponent doesn't have Apron, but I'm sure that they probably had another Apron in the deck. I don't actually remember what happened in this game. Yeah, like, they had another Apron in the deck, and they're like, okay, I just lose because now I don't have statuses, right? Like, but I think that was the one, like, oh, I just lost because bad matchup, really. The other, like, 2 or 3 losses that I get here are, like, Oh, it's just egregious, egregious. My opponent was lucky and I wasn't. My opponent. And, oh, that's another thing too. Chingling is actually really bad for this. Well, it's not the end of the world, right? Because as you can see right here, I just hard drew a cocoon, and it's worth playing out now. Even if my opponent goes rare candy here, like, it's worth playing out now because I have all 3 cocoons on the board. We can play this game, and now it's like, okay, I have no attacker because the cocoons actually retreat for 3, which is really not good. But as you can see, this is pretty annoying for me because, ooh, okay, but no items. So I'm probably doing this, yeah, because I want to maintenance away everything. Unlucky there not to get it confused. Sometimes you're like, you'll be in situations where you're like, I'm praying for a confuse. If I had it confused there, well, actually, it probably wouldn't have mattered because my opponent could just energy up and retreat. It wouldn't have mattered, I guess. I can't call that egregious necessarily. That's just Hydreigon doing what Hydreigon does. This one, I remember, this one was egregious. So I lose 3 games in a row here, and then I go on a win streak. But I don't want to just showcase the wins. I want to showcase the losses too. This right here has happened to me actually more than once, where I'm like, okay, I got a cocoon. Now let's go ahead and put everything down, and then backpack. And like, oh, I remember thinking, oh, I'm totally fine as long as they don't have backpack, and they had backpack. So yeah, this is one of those like, oh, I just lost to egregious bad luck. It's Pokemon Pocket, like, what are you gonna do, really? I also, I'm contemplating here if I want to play the hiking trail because my opponent doesn't have any cards in hand. I think I eventually, oh, I just toss it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I wanted to draw the cards, but yeah, it wasn't worth giving my opponent cards to do it. And here I'm just like, okay, if I don't get confused, then I forfeit the game. And I needed confuse, and I needed to find a Beautifly, so yeah. But it was that initial backpack. And my opponent, I think, had only gone through like 12 cards in their deck, so yeah, it was a bit of a gamble that I took, but it is what it is. So here, this is the Vespiquen deck, right? This deck mains the Ogerpon, and is really good in this deck. And this deck in general is really good, but we'll see what happens. Because even if they have Ogerpon, it's like, okay, you can still try and do some shenanigans with Beautifly, targeting anything for 50. We'll see. And of course, Ogerpon requires the thing to have energy, which I think might come up. So I poked the thing in the back for 50. They have to drop an Erica on it. They don't have the evolution yet. We're gonna get rid of their stadium. This deck plays 2 hiking trails also. So there's a lot of stadiums running around right now. You're gonna be able to replace those. Yeah, somebody asked, why didn't you use the Dustox? I was like, because they have Ogerpon. But it's fine. So they have the Vespiquen. They can, yeah, I was gonna say they can kill this without, doing whatever they want. But now we have the ability to empty our hand for Hiking Trail. Hiking Trail is so good. I think you really, really don't want to play Oak and Copycat-like cards in this deck, which sounds crazy for a Pokemon Pocket deck, but like, Hiking Trail is so good in this deck that you're willing to give that up to have as consistent of a start as you possibly can. Here my opponent retreats, and they get done in by Cyrus. Bam. So I didn't even get any statuses that game, and I was still able to just out damage and take the victory. Because the Beautifly that pokes for 50 it's really annoying. It is really, really annoying. I think it's correct to play 1-1. But look at this hand. My hand is awesome right now. I got 1 cocoon. I got the hiking trail. I've got the maintenance in case another cocoon showed up. I have seen some people, and I've tested it out a little bit myself, use Kids Room, the stadium, instead of maintenance because it will never redraw a cocoon. Maintenance sometimes does redraw a cocoon, but I think maintenance is so much better of a card, especially because you want to be able to play your hiking trails as much as possible if you can help it. So that we just took a free kill, free point, and now we just have to deal with one thing. Draw 3 cards. Goodness. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with this deck. And it's super consistent. I think out of like 25 games, I bricked twice, maybe. Draw, because you're always dropping your hand, especially if your opponents are not playing stadiums. Like, yeah, you're just gonna hiking trail and bam, knock them out with Sabrina. Sabrina and Cyrus. I've also thought about double Cyrus instead of Sabrina Cyrus, but sometimes Sabrina comes up. It's the thing with, like, it happens with a lot of decks. Like, so they can play double Cyrus, but do you really want to? Or, you know, sometimes Sabrina comes up because you haven't done any damage. Here, I throw my opponent's hand away. Yeah, and sometimes it's even worth it to, like, I don't want to get rid of the butterflies, obviously, because my hand is really good right now, but sometimes it is worth it to maintenance yourself down to less cards so that your hiking trail can draw you more. But you do put yourself at risk of drawing a cocoon. And that's one thing that's bad about this deck, is if you draw a cocoon and you don't have a way to put it back in the deck, you're at a straight disadvantage, because as you can see, we're only playing 1 Wurmple. Some people have mentioned, like, oh, you could play like Rescue Scarf, but it's only really good on your first Pokemon, and it doesn't help your game plan at all. It just makes it like it's kind of like an insurance, I would say, and I don't really want to play for insurance. I want to play to be consistent and be annoying with Dustox's status effects. Here we're sending in the Beautifly. And now this confused status is so annoying for my opponent. Unless they have PCL, right? If they have PCL, then sure, they bail out of it. But otherwise, they're gonna have to toss a coin to try and get past it, or retreat. And they might retreat. I don't actually remember what my opponent does. They put a balloon on a stage 2. I don't know what that's about. See, they even did break through the confuse, and it doesn't matter because everything attacks for so little in this deck. Usually, by the way, if you can help it, if your Beautifly is already attacking, like if your Beautifly already has an energy, then you want to put an energy on a Dustox because it attacks for 2. Beautifly always attacks for 1. So that's just how you want to manage your energy, if at all possible. It's a bad lead for the opponent, leading Darkrai, but they got a balloon, so it's not the end of the world. I do get some Wurmple damage. So my opponent is able to Hoopa. That's another deck that's been really popular, Hoopa, but I think like if you I remember my opponent makes a really weird play here. Yeah, they make a really weird play where they don't knock out the cocoon in the front. And because of that, they get turbo punished. Because if you have 2 Dustox, you're always doing extra chip to the front. You're always either going to get poison or burn. So that Beautifly just one-shot the Hoopa after that. So yeah, there are a lot of Hoopa, like dark ping decks that are going around right now. This deck is awesome versus them, if you can get your cocoon off, right? Now what is this? Is this oh yeah, okay, Dragonair. Actually it's Water Lightning. So it's actually Dragonite. I think I remember this game now. And I think I remember what happens at the end of this game too. Because it shocked me, really. It was just a showcase of, like, I should have won this game, but the luck was so egregiously bad that I'm pretty sure I end up losing this one. Well, let's see. So my opponent gets a Dragonite on curve, right? They drop a Draco. I'm like, okay, what do? Toss the hand away. Status. And what do? We poke the front. I don't remember why we poked the front. I think we wanted to get rid of the threat. My opponent Lilies. They fail the confusion. Toss the hand back in. Do my statuses. I can't even do. I already have all statuses, and I took the point because the 50 damage wasn't gonna matter. If the burn didn't go through, it wasn't gonna matter. So now let's see. I'm pretty sure my opponent. Oh yeah, I remember thinking my opponent should retreat here because they're confused, but they didn't, and they 200 pumped the butterfly in the front. So now we're like, okay, we got this. We kill it. We take the helmet damage. This thing only does 110, by the way, right? My opponent tosses my hand, and in this moment, I had a Sabrina and I had a Cyrus in my hand, right? Which would have won me the game by taking out the Mantike, but unfortunately, yeah, my opponent threw it back with Mars, and I couldn't do that, and so I'm sitting here in this position like, okay, well, what I gotta, the only other thing I can do now that I haven't top decked Mars or Cyrus from my 2 cards of my like 5 or 6 card deck, very unlucky by the way, because 2 cards win me the game. Now I just got a status, and the only thing I can do is pray for a coin flip confuse, and I didn't get it. But all in all, I think the record at the end of this was 6-4. And 2 of the losses were just so unbelievably bad luck that I almost don't even want to call them losses, but like they are losses. But this deck is mad consistent, and it has like a decently good matchups into what people are playing right now. So I think if you want to give it a try, it's also a very budget-friendly deck. It is super budget-friendly, so yeah, you should be able to pick up all the cards, all the Pokemon just out of the Mega Ray set. And yeah, I don't think it's propaganda at all. I think I will try it in ranked at some point. I might even try it in some tournaments. We'll see. But if you made it all the way to the end, thank you for watching. Give this deck a try. The deck code is on screen. The list is also on screen. So, thank you and peace out.